you brought up something. We're talking about Kendall Vildor. They bought back Kendall Vildor. Kendall Vildor, you said, which was very true. It was a great analysis by Kool-Aid over there. Got put in a situation, wasn't necessarily a situation he was ready for, a situation he would typically be in. So, he got exposed in the moment where he played good defense and blah, blah, blah. The rest is history. With them picking up a DB, though, what is this? And then Brock Wright. They're bringing another tight end. They're bringing Brock Wright back, who's a blocking tight end.
That's right.
Who's a blocking tight end, ladies and gentlemen. What does that say about what they're going to do in the draft? Does it give you any indication, or is this a nothing burger as it relates to the draft? Anson Wells.
It's a great question. Both of those guys kind of equate to somewhat nothing burgers in terms of comparing them to a first-round pick. I don't think Vildor is enough to push us off our need for a top quality and long-term cornerback. I don't think that it's enough to persuade them away from looking at an interior lineman in that first pick either. Something interesting I wanted to ask you. I've been seeing some drafts that have been letting your guy Brock Bowers last until the end of the first round.
Been seeing that lately.
You think he's the best guy in football, in college right now?
I think when he was at his peak, I think he was the most prominent. I think he was the most exciting. I think he was most dominant at his position in this draft. And there's a lot. Arguably Marvin Harrison.
Sure.
They dominated longer than Caleb Williams. So I'm going to say those two. Joe Alt is in there.
Player.
100% as a player, but I'm not naming too many people that dominated more. Malik Neighbors is really good.
I think he's the best wide receiver in the class.
I do too. Nah.
Tyreek,
you got to show me.
2.0.
You got to show me.
Only one season, sure.
Marvin Harrison Jr., he's been doing this, and then we know who his dad is. So
yes, we do.
100%.
He's already ready for the game. He's been a professional since he was born, basically.
Yeah.
My thing is, though, is if we're sitting at 29 and Brock Bowers is on the board.
Oh, that's what
and
you
got the best young tight end in the game already.
And Brock's more of a wide receiver.
Is that a guy that you go out and get at 29 if he slips that far? Because I'm going to tell you right now, Brock Wright signing wouldn't push us away from getting the other Brock. That's for sure.
Okay. I think I'm gonna have to mix two segments together to make two topics together to make this work. I don't have a problem with that at all. Look, Brad Holmes, I'm gonna let him cook. We know at the end of the day, the defense have gotten better in terms of picks. We still need some more depth, especially at the defensive line. But it has gotten better. DJ Reader, who funny story. We'll get to that in a second. That was pretty good. We'll get to that. Hold off on that, Pete. But you've done something on defense to where if you're drafting Brock Bowers to enhance your offense, where you got the best offensive line in football when healthy, you got arguably the third best running back in football, maybe fourth or fifth, depending on where you want to slate him. You got the fourth or fifth best wide receiver in football statistically in terms of and consistently. Now you have Brock Bowers, and you put him under the tutelage of Steve Hyden and Ben Johnson and what they want to do. My caveat to that, Kool-Aid, and I'll open it up to you, is if you're going to do that, then get Tyler Boyd now.
I like that.
If you're going, and it came out today, the Detroit Lions, the Miami Dolphins, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Los Angeles Chargers, San Francisco 49ers, they are all interested in Tyler Boyd. And you're talking about a guy in Tyler Boyd that's had some seasons here with the Cincinnati Bengals. Last year he had 607 yards and 2 touchdowns. Obviously, T. Higgins is a part of that in Jamar Chase. So he's able to make his mark. I mean, he's had over 1,000 yards twice, and he's consistently floating around 675 to 700, but that's what you're asking for. That's what you were asking out of Josh Reynolds.
Yeah.
And Tyler Boyd's much better than Josh Reynolds, but that's what you're asking out of him. He knows that role. He can play it well, and he won't be as expensive. If you're going to go the Brock Bowers route, let's say if he was there, we're playing hypotheticals, then I'm for 100% getting Tyler Boyd. I don't have a problem with Brock Bowers if they do that.
I mean, we wouldn't even have to run 12 personnel because he is that hybrid. You split him out wide, you split Laporta out wide, but both of those guys can block too. I don't think it's going to happen, but I know you're high on him. I'm very high on him. And, does a Vildor or Brock push us away from either position? I don't think it does.
Yeah, I don't think it does either because, I'm thinking you're looking at a Kendall Vildor, and a lot of that, too, can just be for now.
Yep.
A lot of that can be for now. People don't understand when they sign deals, it's not necessarily for the football season. They can expedite those deals or they can X out of those deals. It's more so for depth during off-season, OTAs, mini camps. You want it to look like something. Also, training camps. So it not necessarily means that he's going to be here. He's just going to be here for now. I think they're nothing burgers.
Yeah.
I think Kendall Vildor is a nothing burger. Brock Wright.
Yeah.
I definitely think is.
But I don't think Brock Wright would push us, and I still want an offensive lineman in the first round. That is what I want.
So you're praying that Jackson Powers Johnson is
yes,
there.
sir.
I knew it.
It's
a great move. Like,
I want Graham Barton from Duke, but I don't think he'll be there.
I don't want any player from Duke.
No?
Name me the player from Duke that was cold in the NFL. Go ahead and say
give me a little bit of time.
Go ahead and say Danny Dimes. So I can
Oh, hell no, I'm not talking Vanilla Vic.
Go ahead and say Danny Dimes.
I am not a Vanilla Vic fan. I do not understand that contract. I will never understand
that
it.
nickname. He tripped.
Right.
Like, that was the big thing about Daniel Jones. Like, he tripped before he got in the end zone. He made this brilliant 70-yard run trip for the end zone. They're like, that's Vanilla Vic. I ain't never seen Vic trip.
True.
When did Vic trip? I saw him
Very
get
true.
tripped and get in the end zone, but I don't trust Duke. That's just neither here nor there. Jackson
fair.
Powers Johnson, you got Graham Bart.
Yeah, either one of them.
From
Graham Barton,
ACC,
either
we'll
one
say
of them.
that.
Either
Okay.
one of them. I don't think that Brock Wright would push us off of that stance at all. I really think that's where the Lions are going to go. It's going to be there or Cooper or Kool-Aid, which either of those guys I'd be happy with as well.
What happens if you? I'm gonna throw this over to you because you guys.
Yeah.
This is fun. You get off course. This is when you get good conversations. What happens if you get to 29 Kool-Aid and you got all three DBs that you want? You have Cooper DeJean, where actually.
That's
why don't you go ahead, Pete, and give me that's Pete's guy, by the way. Cooper
No, it's
DeJean.
Maz's, not mine.
Maz's. Excuse
Yeah.
that's Maz's guy. Why don't you do me a favor? Put that tweet up if you still have it of Cooper DeJean. If not, I'll give you some time to get to
Yeah,
it.
give me some time. I'll get
Yep,
it.
take your time. Cooper DeJean, who didn't report, and Iowa didn't report either, that he was injured, I believe, during the season last year, but he has now been cleared since. So Cooper DeJean is a guy, especially with the new rules and the kickoffs, he's a dynamic kick and punt returner. You also have him in the DB as a DB, whether it's one or two. You got Cooper DeJean's on the board.
Yeah.
Jackson Power Johnson's on the board. Brock Bowers on the board. Kool-Aid McKinstry Kool-Aid McKinstry is on the board. And
Maybe
wide
Chop.
receiver Liggett. And then Chop. Yes, this is the tweet from Adam Schefter about Cooper DeJean. Basically saying everything is cool. He has been cleared. He's young, ladies and gentlemen. Bones heal fast when you're young. So this is good. He'll be back. He'll be great. But who do you take? Brandon Dent with the moves they made, looking at how that defense looks now with DJ Reader and the additions of Davenport. What do you look at in that position? Those five guys there, who you taking?
Yeah, I'm probably leaning towards cornerback. I was all for cornerback and defensive line.
Okay.
I feel like with Brock Wright coming back and with the oh my goodness, with Zeitler signing and everything, I really like what this offensive line is. I wouldn't mind them getting one of those guys, Jackson Powers Johnson or Graham Barton. I wouldn't mind that at all. But I'm leaning towards cornerback. I've liked Kool-Aid a lot. I've really liked Kool-Aid.
I know you
You
do.
just like the
I know
name.
you do.
I mean, come on now. You know, like if a Terrion Arnold was there even. But Cooper DeJean, I hope that all of the injury stuff is clear, because if he's there, is that really a cornerback that you can pass up on?
Yeah, it's tough call.
That's a tough call.
Here's flip side to that question. Let's stick with Cooper DeJean right now. I'll bring it to you, Anson, and then we'll get back to you, Kool-Aid. Cooper DeJean played in what conference? The Big Ten. Big Ten has not had the most dominant passing games in the last couple years. So when you're looking at the Big Ten in terms of competition that you've gone against, well, I love Michigan Death. I love Roman Wilson. You're not naming Michigan. They're a running team. You're not naming Michigan State. You're not naming Nebraska. You're not naming Illinois. There's a bunch of not namings. The only team that you're really naming that you went against is who? It's the Ohio State.
Yeah,
it's
with
the Ohio State
Marvin
Buckeyes.
Harrison
So
Jr.
is that a nothing burger once again as it relates to the competition that Cooper DeJean has gone against, or is he like that?
He really, on film for me, he seems to have that it factor.
Okay.
When you also look at him returning kicks, he certainly has the it factor. You don't see a lot of those guys come out of college and fail when they can do both. I mean,
Jim
sure
Dwight,
there's some
another
for sure.
Hawkeye.
There you go. But Cooper would be a fan favorite. He'd sell a lot of jerseys. You can't understate that.
He'd be the third Iowa Hawkeye
Yeah.
currently on the Detroit Lions team. So they love Kirk Ferentz guys.
I think what the Lions do want, they get two things out of that draft pick. They get the defensive help in the secondary, and they get that dynamic return man that we have been lacking. Since,
You know what?
Mel Gray?
Yeah, you know
Yeah.
what? Those are the types of players.
Terry Fair.
Yeah,
Terry Fair, Tennessee.
Terry
I
Fair.
loved him.
There you go.
That's that football mind.
Hey,
that NFL mind.
you know.
Terry Fair
But
was great.
It's like those are the types
Randy
of
Moss.
players that Brad Holmes has traditionally targeted. It's those guys that are more versatile. You know, whatever they're asking them to do, they can go out there and do it. When you get a guy that can play multiple positions, that could help save another roster spot. And when you look at some of the signings they've made, part of me wants them to lean into signing Tyler Boyd because I think it bolsters their ability to go into this draft and really just have the complete expectation of just best player available. You know, the more and more you shore up some of the things that we thought were needs in free agency, which is what Brad Holmes said he was going to attempt to do this free agency. He said it allows you to get into the draft and just pick the player that you want, whoever you think is best at that point in time, because he said talent is talent. And I do believe that the Lions are setting themselves up for something like that heading into this draft. I lean towards what you were talking about, man. If Tyler Boyd can be gotten by the Lions, I feel like, go on ahead and do that.
It's not going to be a hefty ticket.
Nope.
Like, it's not going to be a hefty ticket. Like, what are we talking about paying Tyler Boyd? 9, 10?
He's a very proven player too.
And,
Yeah.
like, I'll give Tyler Boyd $10 million.
Yeah.
I'll give Tyler Boyd $10 million.
Because when you do something like that, you look at Brock Wright coming back, you look at the signings they've made from Reeder to Davenport to Zeitler. When you do those types of things, before the free agency and the draft, it would have been crazy of us to think, the Lions going to trade up? Could they trade up in this draft? Because we were looking at everything they had, like all the different positions. We thought, you got to strengthen this, you got to strengthen that. But with what he's done in free agency, I wouldn't mind now if they took a couple extra, draft capital from either this year or next year to move up to maybe go get that Graham Barton, maybe go get that guy that we think, Powers might not be there, but we have the capital to go up there and grab him because we've shored up a lot of these other deficiencies on the team already.